Hello again, everybody. Atak is here with the Atak Sportz for this Monday, December the 8th, 2014. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Very good, interesting sports weekend. Let's kick things off with NFL Week 14 thoughts and results. Getting towards December here. Of course, that means the playoff picture is going to go up and down for the AFC and NFC. Let's kick off with the NFC games, especially with the Detroit Lions having their game against the team known as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As the Lions finally, every time the Lions go up against, usually those, when the Lions play an easy team they should beat, they blow it. Like the most recent game being the Buffalo Bills game. But those were the old Lions. The new Lions did not let the Bucs win the game as the Lions annihilated them 34-17. Yes, the Bucs came back in that second quarter, but the Lions came back big time. The defense once again won the game, but I think the offense did better than recent weeks, especially with Reggie Bush back. I think it helped, even though Reggie didn't put any big numbers in, it helped regain the confidence of the team. Stafford threw no interceptions. I think there's like maybe a couple turnovers on Tampa Bay's side. That's why the defense, in my mind, won the game for the Lions. It was an interesting game for Lions. They are now 9-4, but the Packers are now 9-3 because Packers take on the Falcons tonight on Monday Night Football. I know a lot of Lions fans are hoping the Packers lose. I know the Vikings won their game. Doesn't matter, they're in last place anyway, next to the Bears, who lost to the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. Meanwhile, other games included a tough nail-biter between the Colts and the Browns, with the Colts winning, and Johnny Manziel, who was benched again this week, mouthing the starting quarterback. So who knows what will happen to the quarterback position next week after the loss for Cleveland against the Colts. Cincy lost their game against the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Meanwhile, Super Bowl champs look like Super Bowl champs, as the reigning Super Bowl champs, known as the Seattle Seahawks, but prevailed at an away game. They were away against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles won a high following their win over the Cowboys in Dallas, but the Eagles will play Dallas in Philly next Sunday night. The night of tables, ladders, and chairs, and stairs. They just added that to the name, which I'll explain why when I get to my wall preview later on in this video. Other games. Cardinals, despite losing a couple games, they are still at the top of the, not just the NFC, but the entire league, with their 10-3 record, beating the Chiefs 17-16. And Frisco got a big shellacking against, of all people, the Oakland Raiders. Wow. There was a couple upsets besides Raiders beating the San Francisco 49ers. The Carolina Panthers beat the New Orleans Saints in a blowout 34 and in New Orleans, highlighted by a fight. If only they played like that throughout the entire season, the records would be better. Instead of like 2-8 or whatever, both of them. Giants won, but they're still not going to make the playoffs for shit. And the Pats in a very tight game. Like the first two quarters was very interesting between the Pats and the Chargers, with loud turnovers, some interceptions from Brady saying fuck again like he did in the Packers game. But instead of saying fuck at the end of the game, Brady was saying yes, yes, yes after the game with the Broncos. Says rival Pats winning 23-14 against San Diego Chargers. A couple turnovers in there, kind of a floppy game. So it was an interesting game last night on the that game. And the Broncos, speaking of Broncos, they won their game 24-17. Speaking of turnovers, crazy. There's a lot of turnovers and ups and downs, but Broncos still won the game 24-17 because they were like, 24-3, and the Bills started coming back, but it was too little, too late. So there you go. Lions may make the playoffs now, but maybe they're on the wild card picture. And of course, depending on how else, because if they do better, if they keep this up the rest of the season, the game against Green Bay in a couple weeks will probably be for the NFC North title. So it'll be tricky to see how that goes in the weeks to come. And Pats and Broncos are neck and neck. They both won their games, so we'll see what happens there in the end. In the AFC picture, and of course, Seattle's now in a wild card position, maybe. Because Dallas and Philly play for the championship probably next week, NFC North. So there you go. Playoff pictures looking very interesting in the NFL after week number 14 or 13. Now, with some sports results, UFC 181 took place this past Saturday night in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I didn't see it because I had a gig, but results very interesting. All headlined by a new welterweight champion winning by split decision. Robbie Lawler defeating Johnny Hendricks in their rematch. Now, in their first fight, I thought Lawler won the first 3 rounds for sure. Probably the first 3 or 4 rounds, Lawler looked really good against Hendricks. But Hendricks won the fight. In my mind, it was because of that 5th round. Hendricks looked really good in that 5th round. That's why I think won the first fight. But this time around, apparently, Robbie Lawler for all 5 rounds. And I read from a Johnny Hendricks press conference after the fight that he gave up after rounds 3, 4, and 5, and they showed. But now that each guy has beaten each other one time before, whether it's Hendricks winning against Lawler, even though in many people's eyes, in my mind, I think Lawler should have won the first fight, but Hendricks won because of that 5th round. And then Lawler winning by split decision. There's going to be a woman match. There's going to be a 3rd match in this rivalry. So I bet you there will be a 3rd match revealed between these 2 guys. Well, one championship changed hands, one stayed with the reigning champion. As in the lightweight division, Anthony Anthony Pettis defeated Gilbert Melendez in a 2nd round submission. Other fights on the main card included Travis Brown delivering a big TKO to Brendan Schaub in the 1st round. Another heavyweight fight, we had Todd Duffy taking on Anthony Hamilton in a knockout in 33 seconds in the 1st. And Tony Ferguson taking on Abel Trujillo, submission in the 2nd round victory for Tony Ferguson. Of course, a lot of more UFC events happening. Ultimate Fighter finale this Friday night. A UFC on Fox card, including, I think it's Junior Dos Santos against Stipe Miocic. But the big news that came out of UFC 181, and if you cannot tell by what shirt I'm wearing, it's the signing of CM Punk to UFC. Now, of course, we don't know what happened with CM Punk and WWE about their breakup, as exposed by CM Punk on the Art of Wrestling podcast about nagging injuries and getting fired on his wedding day were reasons why he left the company. Vince McMahon on Stone Cold's podcast this past Monday on the network said that he apologized for CM Punk getting fired on his wedding day. It was pure coincidence, and he hoped to have CM Punk back in the WWE one day. But then Punk retorted by saying, Vince, your apology would be sincere. Your apology wasn't so sincere because you apologized on a podcast. It felt like more of a publicity stunt to apologize than a sincere apology. And then, of course, he signed him with UFC. A lot of skeptics right now. Because Punk's, in many people's eyes, a fake fighter. He's a fake wrestler. So, he's in UFC now. Brock Lesnar did well, but Brock Lesnar's like a heavyweight. Punk doesn't know what weight he's going for yet. He wants to go for welterweight. He's not sure what weight class he'll be in, but he's going to have a test cut later on. But he'll be fighting in UFC September 2015. And the fight call out a couple years ago, Jason David Frank, a.k.a. Tommy from the Power Rangers, called CM Punk out for a real fight. And now that Punk's in UFC, Jason David Frank wants saying he wants in UFC to beat up CM Punk. Apparently have some sort of rivalry they need to figure out. So there you go. UFC results, but it was all spoiled by the announcement of CM Punk going to the UFC next year. We'll see how he does. WWE gave him like a backhand compliment, wishing him luck in his future endeavor. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So, we're going from a WWE guy going to UFC, from news on the WWE, and my Raw preview this evening. The Slammies tonight. The last Raw before TLCS. Tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs. I'll get to why that's named that in a moment. Let's get on down to top 3 questions that must be answered tonight. Question number 3 will go down between John Cena and Big Show. And we saw what happened in Survivor Series with Big Show knocking out Cena, turning his back on Team Cena, and turning heel in the process. He will be taking on Eric Rowan in a match at TLCS. The S being stairs, because Last week we saw Big Show attack Eric Rowan with a steel chair during their match. I knew they were going to have a rematch at TLC, but I didn't know it was going to be a stairs match between Big Show and Eric Rowan. With that situation going on, he needs to finish his issues with Cena. Because he knocked out Cena last week on Raw, and now they have a match tonight on Raw. So there you go with that. See what happens there. Question number 2, going back to TLC. What other matches will be added to TLC? We still need to know the pre-show. Now, I predicted this match last week on my Raw review that Dolph Ziggler would eventually get his IC Championship rematch against Luke Harper in a ladder match. And I was right. They just added it last week after Raw that Dolph Ziggler will be taking on Luke Harper in a ladder match for the IC Championship. Because we have a TLC match, Wyatt and Ambrose. We got Cena and Seth Rollins in a tables match. Hope Cena loses because I don't want a Cena Lesnar 3. And I want him to get Seth Rollins over. We have the chairs match, Ryback and Kane. Why? And now we have this ladder match being, of course, involving Ziggler and Harper for the IC Championship. We have, of course, a stairs match now. Harper's former partner Eric Rowan against Big Show. Tag team title match that was also named last week. Miz and Mizdow against the Usos. Maybe we're going to Divas title match. Who knows? Probably have more added tonight, including probably a Divas match and the pre-show match. And question number 1, who will win on the Slammies? Now, of course, Slammies will be presented. Some will be presented on the pre-show. Some will be presented on the main show. Hosted by Mr. Seth Green, former Raw guest host in the past. Let me make my predictions of who will win each award. Match of the year, kind of lopsided because there's no clear favorite for match of the year. There's the triple threat match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 30. D-Bry, Batista, and Randy Orton. Shared Evolution and Extreme Rules. Cena and Wyatt, Last Man Standing match. And Team Cena and Team Authority in Survivor Series. I would say Shared Evolution. That match in Extreme Rules was just epic. So I think that match should win. But I'm surprised the Shields match against the Wyatt family from this past Elimination Chamber was not added. I think that match should have been in that category. But if it ain't there, I think Shared Evolution should win. Superstar of the Year. Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, John Cena, Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, and Bray Wyatt. Cena won last year. Daniel Bryan won last year. I think it's going to be either Ambrose, D-Bry, or Cena. Hopefully not Cena. Diva of the Year. AJ, Paige, Nikki, and Brie Bella. I say AJ. Even though she's not Divas champion now, she's had a hell of a year. Or Paige. Not the Bellas. None of them deserve it, especially Nikki. Divas champ and all. LOL Moment of the Year. Damien Mizdow stunt double for Miz. Mr. Thief thanks his mother in the Hall of Fame. Vicky Guerrero does a Stephanie McMahon in a pool of pudding. And El Twin Hornswoggle in the WLC match. I hope that one doesn't win, but it's got to be Mizdow. That's my pick for LOL Moment of the Year. A lot of categories. I'll just go through some of the big ones here. A lot of awards here. Extreme Moment of the Year, I predict Seth Rollins will win that one for curb stopping Dean Ambrose. Surprise Return of the Year, Ultra Royal returning, or The Rock. It's tough to pick. This is Awesome Moment. Easy. Sting debuting to help Team Cena win against Team Authority. That's my prediction for the top. This is Awesome Moment. I love that new category. And OMG Shocking Moment of the Year would have to be either Seth Rollins turning on the Shield or Brock Lesnar beating the streak at WrestleMania. Those are the categories that will be presented on the main show. Then some awards will be presented on the pre-show. There's a lot of those, but I'm not going to go through those. I just mentioned the ones that will be presented on the show tonight. Just the ones that will be presented on Wall, not the ones on the app and on the network and all that shit. And get ready for that. Slammy's the last one before TLC tonight. 8, 7 Central on USA Network. Next week, Wall's in Detroit, Michigan, where I'm living, but I'm not going because I got a to-do that night. So there you go. That is it for my Atak Sportz for today. Thank y'all very much for watching. And get ready for my Wall review later on this evening. With that in mind, y'all been attacked by the sports news from Zach. See you later. Yeah.